we could both take off our shoes like this. Like, you've already got your shoes off, because you're respectable, and I am not, but I'm going to move this a little closer. See, now we're both just crushed on my couch, and...
We're both small people.
Larger than life. What are you talking about?
Well, physically.
Physically, we could stand to grow a couple inches, but, you know. Oh, no.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. Oh, my dad dropped some blackberries at the grocery store, and they stained my very white pants. These are the Sherwin-Williams Dickies pants.
Oh.
Son of a bitch. That's
Dang.
Okay. They needed to get washed anyway. Maybe I can take them to the dry cleaner, and they can get that out. Okay, but that's not what we need to talk about on a podcast. That's a very visual thing, and, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Chad Miller.
What do you do, Chad Miller?
I'm a musician. Well, I do a lot of things, but I'm
do?
mostly known as a musician. I play drums in a band called Michael Sarah Palin, and that is probably what I'm best known for doing.
But what, I know you have like a million other side projects. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Well...
I mean, we got archaeology.
Yeah, we got my little side project that plays shows maybe about twice a year.
Yeah, but that's still something you do, and I know you love doing it. So it's not just because you're like known for doing one thing doesn't mean you are the other thing is a part of you.
Well, I'm trying to downplay everything in the name of modesty.
Oh my god, this is not what this podcast is about. This is about me hyping up the homies, and you do so many things. Like you're most known for playing like drum stuff, but you play guitar, you sing.
To some, I am known for being a project guy around Seven Onda. To other people, I'm known for being director of technology for the Consumer Aesthetics Research Institute.
Okay, and Seven Onda is a local grocery store in Atlanta.
Yes.
For people that don't know that. And then I always forget the very long name for the Consumer
Aesthetics Research Institute.
See, it's a very long name. But yeah, you do so much, and like this podcast is about you at the current moment. And maybe I think my first question is good. I already know most of the answers to these questions I'm about to ask you.
Do you really?
Yes.
You might not.
Well, I don't know. We've known each other for a bit now, but I think maybe my first question is going to be like, what was the first thing that you like did creatively when you were a kid?
The first thing I did creatively when I was a kid...
Doesn't have to be music. Could be like drawing.
Well, I remember back when I was probably maybe 5 or 6, I drew a lot of pictures. I played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog, so...
On what?
On Dreamcast.
Oh!
Yeah,
you're throwing it way back to Dreamcast, okay.
Yeah, my parents got me a Dreamcast for Christmas back when it came out.
That's lovely.
I never did have a Nintendo 64 or anything like that.
But you had the Dreamcast.
I had Dreamcast, and I played a lot of Sonic Adventure.
Great.
And I remember I would draw a lot of, like, levels, I guess, like on paper. You know, I also played a lot of... I forget what the name was, but my neighbor, Mark, who I was friends with, I would go over to his house when we were kids, because he lived, like, 2 doors down. And he played the Sonic game on his computer.
Was it like a PC?
Yeah. And I guess you could say that those influenced my creative output at the earliest age, because I was literally just, you know, using my imagination and drawing, you know, little levels that, you know, you could hypothetically play in if someone were to try to make these into, you know, something in the game.
So were these just like on a sheet of white paper with like markers
computer paper
and stuff? Okay. You just wanted to create the levels in it, like from your imagination? Okay.
Yeah. I had them kind of plastered up on my walls in my room, like basically every square inch that I could reach, you know, at being 3 foot tall was covered in these 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper that I would draw. I think I stuck mostly to pencil.
Colored pencil or just pencil?
Just pencil. Graphite pencil. That was my preferred medium as a kid.
Graphite pencil was my preferred medium as a kid. Okay. Alright, sir. I think... Sorry, that really got me. Okay, but like, were they all numbered? Or were they like... You weren't that sophisticated as a child?
No.
You're very sophisticated. That's why I'm asking, because I know that should have started at a young age.
Well, sophistication is something that takes time to develop, and I'd only been alive for, 5 years?
I was going to say out of the gate, you were sophisticated? Yeah, no.
Sometimes I would, make up a name for the level I was drawing, and I would, write it in the corner. I also drew a lot of trains. I was really into trains when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I would draw pictures of trains that weren't real, but maybe someday could be.
Did you watch a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I actually watched so much Thomas the Tank Engine that my mom said I actually wore the tape down to the point that a VCR couldn't read it.
Oh, it was like warped that much?
Yeah.
I did that with Toy Story when I was a kid, so I completely understand. Like, I just watched it over and over and over again. Wow.
That's awesome.
We have so much in common already. That's so funny. No. Yeah, we've known each other for like a year and a half now?
Something like that,
I
yeah.
know. We quickly became like besties because you whenever you tour, and you tour a lot, you are away from home a lot, which makes, you know, friendships harder sometimes, but, you know, I try and text you as much as I can, as much as my brain will allow me to try and keep up with my friends, which, when you have a weird, warped, spirally brain, it you know, takes some effort, but, you know, you send me postcards so often when you're on the road, and it makes me so happy. They are, I don't know if you saw over there, that they are like all over my, what's that called? My
circuit breaker.
My circuit breaker box. I just have all of the ones that you sent me for the last like year and a half on there because I love looking at them every morning. I'm like, oh, Chad's in London. Oh, Chad's in Brighton. Oh, Chad's in blah blah blah. But yeah, it's been quite a pleasure.
Heartening.
Huh?
It's very heartening.
Of course.
And I guess going back to the earlier question, sender of postcards is
Yes.
also probably something that I could be known for being.
Oh, 100%. You inspired me. Like, I did a decent amount of traveling last year and I would say a lot of last year.
A lot of this year, too.
A lot of this year,
over the summer, especially.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of traveling, but you inspired me to buy a bunch of postcards to send to the homies because snail mail is great, and it shows that you were thinking of them while you were out on the road, and yeah, I just love it, and like, you were my inspiration for that because I used to do it a lot back in the day before the pandemic, I would say, when I was doing a little bit more traveling, but now I think over like the last year or so I've been doing quite a bit of traveling, and I don't know, postcards are just like a little form of postcards are like, I'm trying to think of the
they're very personal.
Way.
They're
personal. They're
intimate.
I was literally,
intimacy.
I think intimate was the word I was looking for because it's like you on all of your postcards, you write about your day, and you sometimes you even write about like what you had for breakfast, which you know me and I love food, and that makes me so happy that it's just like you're thinking of them and you want them to know this information, even though you text me, you're like, hey, did you get my postcard yet? And I'm like, damn it, no, I haven't. The snail mail system, but they're very personal, and it shows you're thinking of someone. Like, I went to LA in December for a film festival. Shout out Starable Film Festival. We love you.
I remember when that happened.
And I sent like, gosh, I want to say I sent like 15 or 16 postcards. I was only out there for a weekend, but I was so excited to send postcards to the homies because it was so much fun. Yeah.
I still got yours. I remember, I forget what museum it was from, but you sent me one, and it was like statues of two people in like leopard outfits.
Yeah, I do remember that. Well, if I ever like go to yard sales, which you and I need to go to more estate sales soon.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think buying postcards at estate sales that are just blank are so fun, or going to museums that have postcards in them, because you can just buy like 4 or 5, and then those are the ones that you send. Like, I went to, gosh, I don't remember what the market was called, but when I was in London last year, I went to like this market on the West End, and there was this little booth on the corner that had so many random postcards. Like, there was Matt Dillon was on the back of one of them. There was like a pack of like Spider-Man, the original Tobey Maguire version. There was like a pack of that, and I bought so many postcards to send to the homies. But for some reason, I had to go to Oxford for the actual wedding because the bachelorette weekend was in London. But when I got to Oxford, I sent all the postcards, and it took like 3 months for them to get back to the States.
That's crazy, because whenever I've sent anything from the UK, it usually gets back to the US in like a week.
Maybe it was just because I sent it from Oxford, or maybe it was like a post box that just doesn't get checked that often. I don't know. But
I will say, I think you're very brave for sending vintage postcards, because at some point, I don't know, like, I love going to like antique stores and seeing, they'll sometimes have postcards from like 50, 60, even longer years ago that have already been mailed, already have been written out and stuff. Occasionally they'll have ones that are from that time period but have not been used, and at that point it's like, I'm actually scared to like use these for their intended purpose now because there's a scarcity value in them.
Oh, 100%. And I have a few vintage postcards from Acadia National Park, which is in Maine. Yeah. And Maine is like my home state, and I'm like, wait, is it? But I haven't used them. They're just on my fridge because I don't want to use them. But you know what I would think would be really cool? If you took pictures of your friends and then used those as postcards. Like, got prints of, like, those, like, I don't know what the dimensions are, but, you know, like, the photos you used to get when you were a kid, like, get those, print those out as is, and then maybe on the back make them a little bit more, not, like, less flimsy, and then use those as postcards. Because I know Tony Collins, you know, one of the loves of my life, Tony Collins, Chef Tony. There's this one photo of him that I have that I took on my film camera that he just looks so scared to be there. It's like that scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Mac and Charlie are looking at each other from across the restaurant. It's just like that blank stare. And I should make those into postcards. Man, that would be really good. People wouldn't even know who Tony was, but they would be scared. Just like Tony is in that photo.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. I've gotten, mostly around the Christmas season, but I've got friends who will make postcards and send them out, you know, like, 'tis the season type thing. Oh, yeah,
like I was going to say save the date. That's wrong. No, just like, I remember when I was a kid, when we were friends with other families, they used to do the year in review things, like a cute photo of the family, and then, like, what happened in that year.
Yeah.
Man, why don't we do that anymore?
You know,
Social media.
I did it
because
one
everyone
year.
Always knows.
Yeah,
oh,
I did it in 2014. And my dad, I think this is kind of funny to think about, but I didn't really understand that they're the kind of thing where you, like, mass print, like, 50 and just mail them out.
Yeah.
So, like, I had maybe, like, 10 to 20 that I thought they're letters, so I have to, like, write out an entire personalized letter. And I actually did it. I mailed them all out to my friends. I was in college when this happened, and I basically...
So proud of them and so elated that they got this opportunity. Like Drew is one of them, who is the producer of this podcast, but I let him have the day off because he has to focus on his graduation and mentally preparing for that. But I got all of them flowers, and I'm going to write all of them cute little notes on there. I think there are like 6 or 7 of the people in the conservatory. Also, shout out Davey, who is a guest, or previous guest of this podcast. He's also in the conservatory. Love that guy. Also, Lucas, who sometimes makes a ghost appearance in this podcast, is also in that conservatory. And so I just wanted to make sure that all my friends feel that love. And I'm genuinely so proud of them that they got this opportunity and that I'm going to, like, do little notes for them. And I'm so excited.
That's precious.
Yeah, and I think also buying flowers for people and literally giving each other flowers, giving people their flowers while they're still here is so important. Like, even their proverbial flowers, but also physical flowers sometimes. Like, I think one of the most important questions to ask people in general, because this doesn't get asked a lot, is, like, what's your favorite flower? We've talked about this. Like, men, a lot of the time, and more masculine identifying people, only get flowers on 2 occasions in their life.
Yeah.
When they go to prom, they get a little corsage, or maybe 3 occasions. But 2 occasions specifically I'm talking about. They get a corsage, like a little lapel thing for prom, and then they get flowers at their funeral. And that's my ice maker. And you can kind of hear it in the podcast recording. But in their funeral. And maybe if they get married. Maybe. But that's not, like, guaranteed in life. And I would say prom isn't also guaranteed. But, yeah. So corsage and funeral flowers. And at their funerals, they don't get to appreciate them. And I think that chivalry does go 2 ways. And you can always buy men flowers. You know, I told you all about this. Like, I think we talked about it last year at some point.
I'm a very fortunate outlier in that I've gotten flowers multiple times this year because I've got a friend who works at a flower shop.
That's awesome. And you've appreciated the flowers every time?
Oh, yeah. They go in a little vase and they stay there for 2 months. they'll be wilted, and I'm
Yeah.
still too scared to throw them away because they're so sentimental. I don't want to,
Yep.
dispose of them.
No, I completely
And
understand.
then she'll come over and she'll see that the flowers that she gave me like 3 months ago are still there, and she'd be like, throw them out.
She'd be like, no, you don't need this. No, I get that because my birthday was a few weeks ago, and I got flowers from my friend Amber, I got flowers from Carson, and then I got flowers from, I think, one other person, and they were all for my birthday, which was really sweet. But I put the red roses, the purple tulips, and then some baby's breath in the same vase, and they were so pretty together, like all the colors together. But I just threw them out last night.
So those flowers that I'm looking at on the table are not those.
Well, no, those are the... those are Lego flowers.
I thought something looked off
Oh,
about them.
I thought you were talking about the ones in the kitchen, which are a little bit further away. Those are the ones for my friends for their conservatory tonight, which I have to rearrange their little bouquets, which I gotta do after this podcast recording. But yeah, I think flowers are such a nice gift, and like they're just so sweet. And I don't know, I've just always loved flowers as a gift. And this past year for Valentine's Day, my partner at the time got me those Lego flowers, which pairs two of my interests together, actually. Building
Flowers
things,
and Legos.
Flowers and Legos. Building things and, like, having pretty things around the house. Like, you see I love that we're talking about very visual things on this podcast right now. But there is, like, the little vase it's in. It's, like, the green vase. It's got, like, flowers on the side. It's one of my favorite ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the one that I gave you?
I think it is, actually, yeah.
Wow, that's...
It's one of my favorite ones. It's like incredible. It's got like flowers on the side of it. It's green. It's got a really nice sea glass green to it.
I love that color.
Yeah,
it
it's
might be
really cool.
radioactive a little bit.
Did you get it at a vintage or estate sale?
I got it at a thrift store in Decatur.
Ah, then yes, definitely radioactive. But yeah, I love flowers so much. I think they're a very nice gift.
And now you got flowers that can never die.
Exactly.
And they were never alive to begin with.
I know.
But they can never die.
And my friend from my birthday got me these cacti, which are way over there. Which when I was a kid, I had a cactus that was like the green kind of on the bottom, and then the like very bulbous on the top that had like the color. Those
yeah.
kind of cactus. And he got me 3 of those for my birthday because I had that when I was a kid, but when we moved down to Atlanta, my mom just got rid of my cactus in the same way that, you know, if you move, sometimes you get rid of a pet.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah.
Wait.
My mom, like, that my mom never did that, but she got rid of my cactus in the same way. She was like, I don't want to deal with this. Sometimes people abandon their pets like that.
Huh.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah. Wow.
I'm sorry I just like blew your mind with that one, but yeah, people abandon their pets all the time like that. So, you, Chad Miller, you're from Chicago.
Well, the suburbs, but yeah.
I was like, Chicago area. You went to Georgia Tech. Is that what brought you down to Atlanta?
Basically, yeah. I basically spent my entire life, not basically, but had spent my entire life until I was 18 in the suburbs in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And without going into too much detail, you know, everyone hates where they're from.
Yeah.
As it is to my understanding.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's like that hometown mentality. Like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, which isn't to say that where I live was not a nice place. You know,
Yeah.
it just wasn't, I don't know. I think maybe subconsciously I understood to some extent that I was going to stagnate if I hadn't, you know, just completely upended my life. And when I was thinking about where I was going to go to college, because that's just what, at least in my family, you're supposed to do, and really everyone from my hometown, there's a sort of expectation, you know, of going to pursue higher education, and I got offers from, I think, Rochester Institute of Technology, and I got an offer from University of Illinois, and some other places. Basically, everywhere I actually wanted to go rejected me, you know, Caltech, MIT, Stanford, and I thought, well, where could I go that no one from my high school is going to, and that I don't know anyone, and that I can just completely start my life anew, and Georgia Tech fit the bill. Yep. So I moved down to Atlanta when I was 18 to pursue my undergrad in computer science, which I successfully did.
Congratulations.
It was far easier to get into tech when I applied than it is right now. I think the acceptance rate was it was 56%, I think, the year I applied. You actually had a better chance of getting in than not getting in. Okay. Georgia Tech was not really considered a good school the way it is considered right now, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
And I think 2014 is when they finally opened everything up to Common App, and that's when the acceptance rate shot down to, like, what, 10% now, I think it is?
I have no idea. I
Something
didn't go to
thereabouts.
college. I don't know. You said Common App? I don't know what that means.
Oh, well,
Can you
be
explain it like
thankful.
I'm 5?
Common App is this standardized way of applying to colleges.
Okay.
They have a standard list of questions, you know, your personal information, but also, you know, more, I guess, like personal statements, essays, that sort of thing. You know, you fill
Okay.
it out once, and then
You can
you
submit it to a
pay
lot
some
of
amount
schools.
of, yep,
Okay.
and
Common App, that makes
yep,
sense.
the common application. You have to have money to do these things, too. I'm not sure how much it costs to send out applications now, but even when I was applying in 2011, you know, I was paying $60, $120 an application.
Oh, God.
And I had to apply to a lot of colleges. My mom made me apply to like 12 of them.
That's horrible. It's a scheme.
It is. I think we're
Racket.
seeing that now.
Oh, 100%.
More and more. I mean, within the last year specifically, I think we're seeing that more and more.
Yeah.
With the AI thing and whatnot.
No, we don't. I really don't want to get into AI.
I prefer not to
Yeah,
either.
let's not. I've heard the word, the ChatGPT word so much in the last few days that I want to scream. I don't want to get into it. So, you moved to Atlanta. So you thought you were going to go into, like, computer engineering, and that's what you thought your life was going to be?
I mean, yeah, more or less, because from an early age, my dad took home this old Windows 95 or whatever computer that his office had left over, obsolete, you know, office tech, brought
Sure.
it back home. I was probably 4 or 5, and I took to it pretty quickly. I have the kind of brain that makes it so that I like that kind of stuff. You know, I was really into Legos as a kid, you know, building stuff, and I feel like the computer is a natural extension of that.
Yeah.
In some ways, and kind of, you know, without really knowing much else about what there is in the world to do, I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna be the next computer guy. You know, I went to a computer camp my mom enrolled me in when I was a kid. I
That
was
is
like
adorable.
11 or 12 or something, and I think I remember their selling point was they think that the next Bill Gates is in one of their camps. And
that's
was,
a good selling point.
Yeah, and
Good marketing, whoever thought of that.
yeah, and I kind of thought, well, maybe that could be me, you know. Mark Zuckerberg didn't exist yet, so our real frame of reference for a successful computer guy was Bill Gates.
Yep. No Zuck yet.
No Zuck. Now, I applied to study computer science because, well, that's the natural next step in this career trajectory. And it's funny how things work out, because I remember when I was 18, I was a freshman my first semester at tech, and I thought, you know, I had my life planned out. I was going to graduate, I was going to move to the Bay Area, and I was going to work at startups until one stuck, and I was going to get rich doing that.
Perfect.
Which obviously is so much easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going. Don't let me stop you.
Well, I'm not sure what point to cut myself off, because
I'm
obviously my
asking
life
about
has taken some very
some
odd turns.
Some left turns, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you thought your life was going to be one way. That's kind of like what I ask people. Because a lot of the time your life isn't what you think it is.
Yeah, there's such a futility in trying to plan out your life like that.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We're just all like going, why is it not working out the way I want it to? But there is a little bit of futility screaming into the void, but also you can't control chaos. And life does have that delicious ambiguity, to quote Gilda Radner. But, I don't know. You thought you were doing that, and at what point did you, like, because I really want to get into, like, your whole, like, I was going to say discography, but that's, like, I mean, your history with music, because your first band, you know, Dinner Time, not first band, but, like, that whole... Yeah.
Up until you really got to go back further. So I guess to answer your first question, when I kind of started thinking maybe this whole life plan I had for myself wasn't going to shake out the way I had hoped was. So I got my first internship when I was 19, between my first and second year of college.
What kind of internship?
Kind of a shitty one, if I'm being honest, because I'm not sure how it is now, but this is 2012, 2013 we're talking, and I got an internship as a test engineer. You know, everyone at the time, if you're studying computer science, you're going to start out and test.
Sure.
I got an offer
I don't know.
from
You can lie to me.
a company that no longer exists called Interactive Intelligence. I moved out to Indianapolis for that summer. Indianapolis, of all places, by the way. Can you believe it? In the Midwest to work at a tech company, and I was making $15 an hour, and $15 an hour was actually not that bad for
Oh,
your
yeah, back
first
in, like,
internship in
2012?
2013. I was, paying. God, I must have been paying $300 a month for rent in Indiana, and of course it was 4 dudes living in a 2-bedroom, 4 dudes all doing the same internship at the same company.
Wow.
So that was really
You were, like,
interesting.
packed in like
It was-
sardines.
and more than anything else, I think it was a moment of disillusion because going into it, I had this whole starry-eyed optimism. I was like, it's going to be like Big Bang Theory. We're all going to be hanging out. We're all going to be writing the next killer app. We're all going to be...
Were you young Sheldon?
Who
who were
God.
you?
If I was young...
I was gonna say, who were you in the Big Bang Theory?
I've never actually watched Big Bang Theory.
You were just like, tech guys. Well, at least it
Yeah.
wasn't Silicon Valley.
No,
that was not around in 2012, from what I
No,
understand.
Big Bang Theory was kind of the frame of reference I had, and really my understanding of what Big Bang Theory was limited to like screenshots of it.
Oh, sure, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I had this idea where it's gonna be like, okay, well, we're all 4 young dudes, kind of like Apple started in the garage,
Sure, yeah.
that type
Amazon
of thing.
also
We could
started in
maybe
a
do
garage.
something cool. And I don't know, I just kind of found it just
wasn't like
wasn't.
that.
It was a lot more boring than it ended up being.
Yeah.
Like we'd get off work and we'd all be doing our own thing. We'd have the kid playing League of Legends and reading his manga, and then I would be there, and I was going through some shit too, which may have hampered my ability to do anything creative or productive that summer because.
Yeah.
Well, the internship also was not really everything I'd hoped. I kind of sat there and. I was writing test cases. I was writing unit tests, automated tests for this telecom software we were making.
You said a lot of words, and I understand, and probably a lot of our listeners understand those words separately. Can you say it?
Yeah.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
So here's a typical day when I
Sure.
was working as an intern there. I would get into the office at 8 a.m. They had 8 to 5 were the intern hours. And we had software for, it was telecommunications software, voice over IP.
Okay.
We had these phones, and the phones would connect to the internet, and then you could, do calling, you could do video calling with our software also, It was really cool, I'm sure, if I was working, a little bit closer to the hardware and I was doing something else, but what I was doing was I would get up, I would be given a list of specifications that would be like, we need to test this functionality, and it would literally be
to
like...
make sure something works, essentially?
More or less,
Okay.
yeah. That's part of the process for developing our software and, integrating it with the hardware. And it would literally be like, write a test case that opens up our software and clicks this button.
Okay.
And that's it. And
so that over and over and over again?
Yes.
All day. Okay. So from
every
8
day.
to 5?
Yes.
Oh,
I think I wrote probably close to 100 of these. And I was just cranking them out because... Not to be too egotistical, but I understand that
You're
I'm
smart.
generally considered a better engineer than most people would, especially right now, given that a lot of the newly minted developers are relying on...
Don't say it.
The word.
The word.
And...
C-H-A-T.
But even back then,
Yeah.
My AP computer science teacher who used to work in the industry,
Sure.
he kind of was telling my parents, hey, this kid has a bright future in tech. He's got enormous talent as a developer, I think is what he told my parents during one of their conferences. And, it showed because my brain, it's very intuitive to me.
Just because you're good at something like that doesn't mean you necessarily have to do it.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I just... For all of our listeners out there, just because you're good at something on paper doesn't mean you have to do it. I'm just going to say that out loud.
Yeah, and basically, spending a summer of doing that, it was like... That was my first real crossroads where I was like, man, if this is actually what it's going to be, then I don't want to do this.
No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, and I was thinking, well, this is just my first internship. I still have, I've only got 1 year of college, and it's mostly introductory classes.
Yeah.
We're going to see how the rest of this goes. At the same time, so we're getting into my second year of college.
Yes.
I had gotten back from this internship, and...
Back to Atlanta.
Okay. And for reasons that I won't... That are far too numerous to go into, my first year of college sucked.
Well, yeah, it's college, so I get it.
So my second year was my first year, and
yeah.
I was kind of... I don't know, and my head was not in the right place. A lot of shit was going on that I was not really, I was struggling to process and understand, and...
Yep.
Long story short, it led me to the Georgia Tech Musicians Network at Under the Couch.
Under the Couch. Oh,
Yeah, rest in peace.
I saw so many bands there back in the day.
Rest in peace to both Under the Couch and Musicians Network, is just my understanding at the moment. I'm not sure I should actually be saying that, but...
R.I.P. to at least Under the Couch.
Yeah, to Under the Couch. And
God, I haven't thought about that in forever.
Yeah, and I've been interested in music. You know, I've been playing the drums since I was 12.
Yeah.
I joined percussion in my middle school band when I was 11, and
Yeah.
I've been playing piano since I was a kid. My grandfather was a virtuoso pianist,
Cool.
and
On your mom's side or your dad's side?
on my dad's side.
Cool.
Skip a generation.
With your dad?
Yeah, but I took to piano pretty quick.
People that can play the piano like really, really well blow my freaking mind.
I've got a video I got to show you if I
Yeah.
haven't shown it to you already.
Probably
It's a
not.
recital of me playing Rachmaninoff when I was 11.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and the music came as naturally to me as, you know, the computer side of things.
Yeah.
But it had always been kind of a pipe dream. I'd never played with
yeah.
other people. I'd never been in any bands. I just kind of had this drum kit, and I would put on my earbuds, and I'd listen to, like, Rush, and I'd play along with these Rush songs,
I love
you know?
how Rush, like Neil Peart is like you're like, you know what, I'm gonna play something real quick, and it's Neil Peart.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
I would
oh
spend...
my God.
I
That's so funny. I know we've talked about this before. Like Rush was like your was for drum along music, but that is so funny.
And I probably annoyed the shit out of my parents
Of
because
course, yeah.
So I was good at piano, but my parents, you know, it was a fight to make me, you know,
course,
take
yeah.
lessons and practice and whatnot.
Yeah.
Drums,
You're
they
a
got me the
kid.
drum kit, and I was down there every day for hours, just on my own volition, just pounding along, and it was like, you know, it clicked in a way. It felt
Yeah.
like I would go as far as to say, you know, the drums, like, almost kind of like felt in like an extension of my physical form,
Yeah.
you know?
So
And-
Under the Couch.
yeah, so when now I'm 19. It's 2013, fall 2013.
It's so funny to me that like I know we met back then, like maybe like once or something, but like
We crossed
it's
paths
so
very
funny.
briefly.
It's so funny because you know my ex played in bands back then at Under the Couch, at
The Future
Drunken...
Babes.
Oh yeah, we don't have to name them. No, but like I'd been friends with Carson Fleischman since I was like, oh god, maybe 11 or 12, and so he was in the band with my now ex-boyfriend, and like they played all of those places back in the day, and like I remember hearing
Yeah.
about, you know, your bands and stuff, and we did meet at one point, but like we don't have to get into that.
Oh,
'cause,
that's
like,
still years away
I
from
know.
fall 2013.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Under the Couch.
So I go to Under the Couch. It's like, well, I got to figure out. I had like an identity crisis kind of.
Sure, yeah.
And I didn't really know kind of like what I was doing with my life.
I think around that time, what were you, like 20?
I was 19.
So you're 19, 20?
Well, obviously, it seems so laughable now. It's like, yeah, of course you have no idea what direction you
Exactly,
want
you're
in
a
life.
child.
But at the time, you know, my entire life experience had been limited up until that point, and
Yeah.
the enormity of it, you know, it feels like everything because that's kind of like all that you've experienced up until that point.
Exactly, yes.
But I joined Under the Couch. I joined Musicians Network, rather, and I started going to Under the Couch, and I started, you know, going to open mic nights, and I would play shitty drum solos that were just so funny to think about now. And I became friends with people there, and we started some bands, and my first band that I ever joined was called the Merry-Go-Rounds. And
I forgot about them, yeah.
that was a really funny experiment. I didn't
Experiment.
really know what being in a band was like. And the
Sure.
band was led by an old friend, Jared McGrath, who...
Also, thank you for using first and last names, because we
Yeah.
want to shout out people on this podcast.
And Jared is probably the most consequential person I've ever met. I really don't think that... And I would be so far away from where I am right now without Jared, and...
Aw, thank
Yeah.
you, Jared.
Yeah, and, you know, he moved to D.C. We haven't
Yeah.
really seen or talked to each other in a while,
That's
but...
okay.
You know, these people, especially with having so many years and, you know, miles of road underneath me, and thinking about all the people who have gotten me to this point.
Yeah, who have helped you
You know,
to get here.
it
yeah.
leaves an effect on you. You know,
Oh,
think
100%.
about, you know, Jared started the Merry-Go-Rounds. It was my understanding that Jared was challenged to start a band with as many people as possible. And of course, what's a better method to recruit as many people as possible than go to Under the Couch, one of the first meetings of the semester for Musicians Network, and be like, hey, I'm starting a band. You've got all these freshmen who are coming in, you know, who are eager to do something.
Yeah.
You know, And
eager
next
to
thing,
be a part of it all.
yeah, and next thing I know, it's a few weeks since the initial email was sent out. We figured out a time. We all got together, and there's like 17 of us.
Oh my God.
And we can't even use the practice space because there's too many of us.
Yep.
Of course, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was just having fun. I was there, and I was like, yeah, it'll be fun to play with some people. I wasn't even the drummer. We already had 2 drummers. And
so,
the idea...
out of the 17 people, 2 of them were drummers?
There were 2 full drum kits, and I thought, well... I still want to be involved in this, but having 3 drummers is absurd. So I'm going to play
100%.
percussion.
I think having 2 drummers might be a little loud, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's our thing. We started
loud.
playing
there were
live.
17 of you, of course they were
People
loud.
liked us. We weren't the greatest band in the world, but people liked us because there were a lot of us on stage.
Yeah, sure.
God, we practiced. It was, thinking about that time, and it's something that I think about every now and then. And it's such a nostalgic thing to think about because really I was so self-unconscious. I never knew that I had, what I'm doing right now in front of me, that I would be on, this really wonderful journey.
Yeah. So merry-go-rounds.
So the merry-go-rounds, we recorded an album.
That's awesome.
And that's entirely self-recorded. We were kids who had no experience, no money. We just did it all ourselves under the couch.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah, and to any of the young people who are listening to this and, go to tech or went to tech at the time that Under the Couch was no more, it was really a magical thing. It's a resource that I'm very bummed the kids don't have because it was a space that was literally 100% ourselves.
Yeah.
The officers had keys to our space. We could access it 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
There was no one there to stop you if you wanted to be like, all right, it's 10 p.m. on like a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into the studio and just fucking record something,
Exactly.
And that's what we did. So many of my fondest memories going to tech were, especially from that year, were just going into the studio and
making
magic.
magic.
Not having any idea what we're doing, but we're just kids and we snuck some beers in. We're having a good time, just kind of getting buzzed and setting mics up and recording.
Should I edit that out? No.
Nah.
You're proud of
The
that?
statute of limitations has expired.
Oh, you checked?
Well, it has
probably
to be. It's
has.
been like 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and next thing I know, we're playing shows, and we're like not just a tech band. We're like a band. We're playing
You're a
Drunken
band.
Unicorn. We have this album release, and next thing I know, Jared's like, "Yo, let's tour. Let's." So summer 2014, I'm an intern
so
at
weird
IBM.
To think about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that was, a lackluster experience as well, because
I'm so sorry. I talked over you. You said your internship at IBM.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
So between my second and third year, at this point, merry-go-rounds was like my big thing I was doing. And of course, I had some one-off bands here and there that I was just doing, I was fucking around with. And but merry-go-rounds, that was like, we all were pretty into the idea of, taking this band as far as our very juvenile minds could comprehend. And that was, to us, New York City. Let's take our music to the Big Apple.
Honestly, yeah, I get it.
And next thing I know, we have some shows lined up. Jared's like, let's tour. And like, I the idea of touring had never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I love playing shows. And, even as a kid, I was thinking it would be so cool to play in front of people, at this scale. But that was something I never thought of doing.
Yeah, that you could do,
Yeah. And next thing I know, I'm sitting at my desk at IBM, and I'm supposed to be, converting these Perl scripts to Python or whatever it was that I was hired to do. And instead, I'm on, like, Yelp looking up venues in Philadelphia. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to book a show in Atlanta, let alone outside, but I do know you have to find venues, you have to email them. So I was just typing out emails, and God, we had, like, a 10-page EPK that I was mailing out in PDF form, without understanding that your emails are supposed to be as concise as possible.
Yes, they're trying to hear what you're saying in the most concise form and get your idea out.
But by God, we did it.
You did it. I mean, there were 17 of you.
Yeah, well, by that point, there were 11 of us, and as a touring party, we were only 8 of us.
Okay. Only 8. You did air quotes on that. Only 8. Yeah.
Yeah, and going on that tour and coming back from that and realizing, hey, this is actually something that we could do. This is something that, I could do. Mm-hmm. I quit the merry-go-rounds a little bit after that because the guitarist and I, Andrew Joyce, wanted to start another band.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something that wasn't just playing percussion.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Which
play
fair.
drums.
I get it.
You know? It's when you get to that many people. I mean, I think the band had run its course by then.
Sure.
Because really, at the end of the day, yes, Jared McGrath was challenged to start a band with as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But also, this band was supposed to be a springboard from which we would
Yeah.
each start our own bands. And that, by the end of the first year, that had more or less been accomplished. You know,
Perfect.
a lot of really great bands came from that band. The Organ Machines was a really great band that started from that band.
I mean, and it's also a really good life skill to have, to know when things have run their course and
Right.
to walk away. Not
Yeah.
everyone knows that.
Yeah,
That can be for anything, like
that's something that
Like
I'm getting better at.
friendships, romantic relationships,
Yeah.
career stuff, jobs, you know. It's hard to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Because resentment can grow. There can be hate in your heart that grows.
Oh, yeah.
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 It's
We'll
fine.
get into it, but, you know,
we'll get
that's...
into it.
I'm being
We'll get into the
proactive.
hate in my heart. Yeah.
I'm being proactive about that right
Yeah.
now, you know, having
Yeah.
just gotten back from tour and,
Yeah.
making a conscious decision to, you know, take 3 months off to
Yeah,
just
which you need.
sit back and reflect.
Relax.
And, you know.
Okay, so you said Andrew Joyce
Yes, we
started a band.
we started a band with Andrew's friend from high school, Chris Young, called Antarcticats.
Antarcticats. That was
Yeah.
the band.
That was the band, and we had marginally more experience than we did starting with the merry-go-rounds, but
Sure.
we still didn't really know what was going on. We were still breaking into, you know, the local scene,
Yep.
and we had these bands that we looked up to because they were like, okay, well, you know, they're like a step ahead of us. We're not
Mm-hmm.
looking to, like, I don't know, 21 Pilots or whatever, you know, that scale. We're looking to,
No.
like, there's a band called Man Up Yancey.
Oh,
that-
I was literally just about to bring up
Yeah.
Man Up Yancey, because it was like there were so many like 3-piece or like 4-piece bands back in the day, and it was
Yeah.
like Man Up Yancey, The Head.
Yeah, Feminome was another really
Yeah,
great one
like
that
the
we looked
Future
up to.
Babes.
The Future
like,
Babes.
Oh my god, there were so many 3-piece bands way back in the day that like I don't know what it was about Atlanta during that time, but there were just so
Yeah.
many like 3-piece fucking
Well,
bands.
Atlanta, I think at that time, we had, Manchester Orchestra, Mastodon,
mhm.
Black Keys. No, Black Lips.
Black
It
Lips,
was
yeah,
Black
yeah.
Lips.
No, it was so many good bands were coming out of Atlanta.
Yeah. You know, the scene is going to, well, I can't speak for every single scene, and I
Sure.
think Atlanta might not even be a good example of what I'm about to get into, because Atlanta being such a big city with so many different sub-scenes, I guess might be to some degree exempt from this, but,
Sure.
you know, when you got a scene, you got, you know, the bands that rise to the top, and you've got other bands that kind of see what they're doing, and,
Yeah.
you know, those bands have, I guess, a little bit more social capital to, you know, set a certain kind of mold or set some footprints that other bands, you know, that aspire to be doing
Yeah.
the same thing that they're doing can, you know, go about doing kind of in the same way.
Yes.
So maybe that might be where some homogeneity comes from, and Atlanta even then wasn't really homogenous in that way, even
Yeah.
though there was an abundance of these, you know, 3 or 4 piece bands doing the garage rock thing,
Yeah,
the
but they were
post-punk
so
thing.
good. Like Wonder Root back in the day.
Oh God, Wonder
I
Root.
Drum, like I just remember going like to places like Drunken Unicorn, I Drum. What did I just say?
Wonder Root.
Wonder Root. Just all of
Yeah.
these DIY places back in the day that had the same spirit as Under the Couch, and like
Right.
God, I miss having those places. And
Yeah.
what's the one downtown now? Not the Masquerade, but
The one downtown now.
I don't know. It has the same. I don't.
Is it the bakery?
No, but Bakery's a good
Yeah.
version now. But like, there's this. Anyway, I just miss having that scene.
Right. No, same here, because, man, now we're getting into a little bit after Antarcticats are a
Yeah.
bit more established, and it's, 2016, 2017, we had spaces like Rowdy Dowdy, Murmur,
Yeah.
Mammal Gallery. That was, the
That's
the
what I was
closure of
thinking of.
Mammal
I
Gallery
was
was a
thinking
huge,
of
huge
Mammal
blow.
Gallery. Yeah.
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 Broad Street had like 3 or 4 venues, and there were all these DIY spaces with
Yeah.
relatively cheap rent, and it's so much harder now to be a band because that level of venues doesn't really exist anymore.
It does not,
You got to
no.
go straight to 529 or the Earl or the Drunken Unicorn, which are significantly harder than a place to book that says DIY is Under the Couch,
Yep.
Wonder Root, Murmur, Mammal Gallery, the
Yeah.
Bakery back in the day.
Man,
It's become very corporatized, and
You're
you've got
correct.
the Eastern and Terminal West that are like the new mid-sized venues, and
Yeah.
it's just difficult
Yeah.
for. I feel for bands now, and
I love how
would
you didn't include the Battery.
the battery's not
the
even.
Coca-Cola Roxy at the Battery.
Oh Yeah.
No, we don't need that. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Did you know that used to be a conference center?
That
Does that
tracks.
make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I went there for the first time to see Joe Keery's band, Joe, like a month ago now, almost. And I was like, wow, this was if the Eastern was a little bit smaller or Terminal West was a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's very commercial, you know?
Sorry,
Not that there's
I didn't
anything
mean to
wrong
cut
with
you
that,
off,
but, you know, for the bands that want to get a start, well, where do you start now? And house venues have traditionally always been a great place, and there are some really great house venues right now. The Brick House. There was a venue that had a lot of potential called the Whale. They were in Home Park, but they got shut down.
That's disappointing.
And
Yeah,
fact,
and like these places get shut down, and that's so hard because there's not a fucking space anymore for.
well,
bands.
the house venues are like a hydra, you know? They're always going to
know.
be there. They're always going to be short-lived, and you can take one down, but 3 more are going to take their place.
Okay,
you
well,
know?
we need more. We need more venues.
You do. And I would like there to be something between house venue and like Earl, you know.
Yeah, there should
And we're
be.
kind of missing that step right now.
I agree. Okay, so Antarctica, we're at 2017 now.
So Antarctica, by 2017, we had done a few tours of the Midwest and the East Coast. We had put out some EPs, we put out a single, we had a lineup change. And I think by this point, I was pretty entrenched in a decision. I knew that music was kind of what I want to do, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a lot more fun than the computer world.
Fair.
You know? And I'd been still, you know, I did a co-op. I was in the middle of a co-op.
Can you explain what that is? Because I don't.
So a co-op, it's like an internship on steroids. You know,
Sure.
you do 3 semesters
Okay.
at a company, but they're not 3 in a row. It's like semester of working at a company, semester of class.
Okay.
Semester of going back to that company, semester of class, you know.
Sure.
And I was actually in a really unique position because I had already completed the internship program at Tech by the time I got a co-op. And I had actually started a co-op late enough that I spent an entire year working.
Oh, okay.
I did a semester of co-op, and then instead of going back into class, because there were literally no classes that I could take that summer, I instead did just a semester of work, interning, quote-unquote, at the same company. So
Okay.
that was my first year really kind of having a foot in the post-college world,
Okay.
you know, where I'm just working. I come back home, there's no tests, no projects, no work. My life is very much structured the same way it would be as if I were out of college.
Okay.
That lifestyle, it wore off. The novelty eventually did wear off because it just got boring, you know?
Sure.
And I was doing some interesting stuff at the company. I was solving some interesting problems, and I would continue to solve some interesting problems while I was working there. But at the end of the day, I knew that I have this whole world of music, you know, that I still feel I have so much of it to explore, and I want to go into it so deeply.
Yeah, it's a very vast
that,
world.
You know, and I can't do that as long as, you know, I'm still working 40 hours a week, you know, at a company that expects you to kind of have your career, you know, in mind, you know,
Yes.
in that industry at least. You know, it's not really possible to have a career in computers or really a career in anything white collar like that while also trying to pursue something that is very much not white collar, you know, because that takes more work, it takes more effort, and you got to have, you know, that time and energy come from somewhere, and you know, you can't really have your cake and eat it too in that regard.
Nope.
At least when you're starting off either one of those careers, you know,
Yeah.
when you're in the early stages of that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask, can I use the bathroom and take my shirt off because it's really hot
That-
and I need to
I don't
pee.
like those in that order. So you want to pause this?
Yes, if possible.
Okay, you're the first person to ask me that. Hold on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm not going
I'm going to pause this real quick.
to... All right.
Okay, so we're back.
We're back.
I don't remember what we were talking about, but
Well, it's
okay, but let's
we're
fast
talking
forward.
about the trade-off.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what was I gonna say? Antarctica. Antarctic.
And heart attack.
I don't know. Let's continue.
Yeah, so by 2017, I kind of knew that, you know, I really want to be a musician, and this entire time I understand that it's very difficult.
Yes.
You know, there's no structure.
Be an artist.
Yeah,
It's difficult.
Being a financially having a financially stable artistic career is very difficult.
100%.
That's part of why I stuck with college and I stuck with the computer path, because even though I wasn't, so in love with it that I want to spend the rest of my life, being computer guy first and foremost,
Yeah.
that was where financial stability can come from.
Yeah.
Having that kind of paycheck. And I think I had a feeling that, I'd be spending a long time, playing a lot of shows, doing a lot of tours, playing to 10 people a night, putting out
Sure.
albums that no one listens to before, I even had a chance of getting to, anything beyond that level.
Yeah.
And I knew that it would probably never work out. There's no shortage of people, who were warning me. I do think that back then, the way I pursued it might have been with such naive
Reckless.
conviction
I was gonna
that
say
people,
reckless abandon.
might have thought, oh, God, Chad's just really immature. He needs to grow up, because I don't know. I'm the kind of guy where if I'm doing something and I feel like I'm being forced to do it and I don't see a way out, I'm going to make it suck for everyone around me, too.
Okay.
For better or for worse.
Sure.
But around 2017, that was when Antarcticats got acquainted with a band called the Pellies.
The Pellies, okay. You're giving me like a musical history lesson, and I love it.
Oh, it's such a small snapshot of Atlanta. It's
The Pellies.
yeah. and the Pellies, we did a tour with them and their main guy, Ian Buford.
Ian Buford, okay.
Yeah, I liked Ian from day one. I knew Ian's head was in the right place.
It's cool when you meet people that you're on the same page with, and that's like
Yeah.
an instant thing. I've met a few fellow artists like that, and it's just magical when it happens.
Yeah, I think I kind of had this premonition when I first met Ian. I knew that we would be in a band together someday.
Sure.
And when the Pellies broke up and Ian started a new band, he wanted me to play drums for him.
Okay.
And I was totally on board. Antarcticats had just put out an album. We hadn't put out an album. But we were recording an album. And we had done some DIY tours, and we were getting pretty good at booking our own shows. And,
Sure.
This whole thing. We had, touring experience.
Sure.
We were getting pretty good at touring also, I think.
It's definitely a practice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ian, he was just starting. He had just graduated from high school when the
okay.
Pellies toured with Antarcticats.
Oh, wow.
He was 18, still very, very young, still had a
baby.
lot that, was ahead of him. And I knew that if I was going to be in a band with Ian, and especially he really wanted to tour a lot.
Yeah.
He wanted to play shows. He wanted to put out music. I was like, yeah, we're on the same page creatively. We're on the same page, in terms of practices and procedures and whatnot.
Sure.
Not to make it sound too clinical.
But, I mean, it kind of is sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta be clinical about art sometimes so that you can get the ideas out and make them happen.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, and dinner time for
So
the 5
was that the band name, Dinner Time?
Yes.
Okay.
I still think it was a terrible name. We
I
wanted.
think it's a great name.
It is better.
I think it's a great name.
Yeah, when we were starting out, I think Ian proposed the Seltzers as a name.
That's also good. It's fine. You're laughing at me, but I like both of those names.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start a band called the Seltzers.
Yeah, that
You
sounds
gonna be
like
my
a barbershop quartet
Let's go.
type band.
I don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, Dinner Time, that was a band where we really wanted to hit it hard. And Ian had a pretty good instinct for what people liked hearing, the kinds of bands that, we could be friends with and, play shows together with. And that band was a lot of fun in a way that, I think Antarcticats, both Andrew and I were kind of neurotic in a way that maybe could have sucked some of the fun out of it,
Sure.
But
So
Dinner Time...
Andrew Joyce joined that band too?
Eventually, Andrew did.
Okay.
So that Dinner Time went through a number of lineup changes,
Sure.
and by 2019, Andrew Joyce had joined the band, and Antarcticats had dissolved.
Sure.
We were a 5-piece, and, we really took that band further than I thought I would go.
Sure.
We were like, we did our first full U.S. tour in 2019, and I mean, we were out for 6 weeks.
That's a long
we hit
time.
the entire U.S., and we
Wow.
actually did it. My God, we did it.
And that was like without a booking agent or anything like that.
Correct.
That was just you guys booking all of the venues.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's crazy. We put out an album, and then we toured the entire U.S., and
That's so cool.
I just remember driving out west. It was my first time really going out west.
Yeah.
Touring takes you a lot of places that you never thought you would go.
100%.
And the Midwest, yeah, I'm from there, but I had never been to like Ohio or Kentucky or whatever, or the East Coast, that's a whole different vibe. And then you're going out to the West Coast, which has been a promised land for many over a lot of the U.S. history.
California dream.
Yeah.
Copyright. Go ahead.
And it's like, after that, I was like, what can't we do,
Yeah, like, I mean, at that point, you know how to do the thing, so why not just keep doing it?
Right. And dinner time was my life.
Yeah.
And I was still working these office jobs,
Sure.
And I was still struggling, and I felt, very, in a way, I felt like and I don't think this anymore, but at the time, I felt like there was something special about the way I was struggling,
There was like a magic to it.
Right. I think I thought more about myself back then than I really, should have been thinking, and everyone, I think, has had the exact same struggle that I did.
How old were you?
I was 25,
Yeah,
24,
of
25, And I was like, man, am I the only guy? I must be the only guy out there who like has one foot in one world and one foot in the other,
Wow,
to
I'm
these
so
differing depths.
special.
Yeah. When in actuality, no, that everyone is kind of like
Mostly everyone, yeah. I mean, like, I'm kind of like that. I get it. One foot in one world, one foot in a day job world. I get it.
Yeah, and dinner time, that band prepared me for anything.
Good.
God, we subjected ourselves to the worst conditions to make tours happen. We were doing these insane drives. I remember we did an insane weekend in Miami. Just drove down there one day, did a live session.
From Atlanta?
We were like getting deep fried. Drove from Atlanta to Miami to do a live session in 2021. And we were just completely getting deep fried every night. Sleeping 4 hours.
I was going to say, when you say deep fried, what do you mean? Because I know we've talked about this before, and I know what deep fried means, but these listeners
we were just
don't.
getting so massively fucked up. Just, like party, like non-stop fucking party. Sleep 4 hours, stay out until like 5 a.m. Just, we tried to adopt a little bit more of a professionalism, but we still had this huge sense of, party forward, which may not have been the best decisions in retrospect, but that got us to some places that I never thought we'd get to. We played Treefort Music Festival, and that was my first time playing a major festival.
That's incredible.
And that was like, wow, a tangible, like, I'm going somewhere with this, and I'm going to where I want to go, you know? But, every band that I've been in, every band will eventually, you're not going to be in the band. There will come a time where you're no longer in the band. Yeah. Whether it's because the band breaks up or just because your time has run its course, it's really, who's to say. But after dinner time ended, well, at least after my time in dinner time ended.
Your tenure in dinner time ended.
Yep. That was a moment. I was 28 years old, and I had a lot of cool experiences. And I thought, maybe I've hit it really hard. I've done so much more than I ever thought I would.
Yeah.
And did it get me to, playing to 1,000 people a night, in countries I've never been to, in cities I've never been to, selling albums that people actually care about.
And listen to.
And
know the words to.
Yeah. No, I didn't quite get there, but the vast majority of people don't and will never get there.
Yeah.
And the fact that I got, even a tenth of the way there is so much more than I thought I would do as a kid.
It's remarkable, yeah. Not a lot of people get that opportunity.
Yeah, and I was pretty content to call it. I was like, well, maybe I really should. I'm getting to my 30s, and I'm...
You're like, I need to buckle down and get a job.
Maybe I should, take the thing that leads to financial security a bit more seriously. Yeah.
Boo! And then what happened?
Well, the funny thing about this is, if you're in a scene, if you establish yourself even at the lowest level, for long enough, you're gonna meet so many people, you're gonna make so many connections, and then eventually one day it might work out for you this way. I woke up to a message from an old friend, Elliot Braidman.
Elliot, we love Elliot.
Elliot is the front person, but also was for 8 years, I think, at the time.
Sure.
The front person for a band called Michael Sarah Palin. Mm-hmm. Michael Sarah Palin is a band that I had known about. We were never in the same scene because Michael Sarah Palin is an emo band, and I had always played in, like, Mac DeMarco ripoff bands. Wait.
Okay, that's so funny. You have never said those words to me before.
Really?
No, a Mac DeMarco ripoff band?
That's
hilarious.
What I thought. Yeah.
No, you have never said those words to me. You may have said them to everyone else, not me though. But, I mean, I heard of Michael Sarah Palin. Like, I knew who Michael Sarah Palin was when I was they were not a regular Atlanta band, but they were like a well-known band in the Atlanta scene.
Yeah.
Also, the band name Michael Sarah Palin is so funny. So.
I always thought it was the worst band name in the world.
No, it's not. It's funny and it's memorable, but okay.
Atlanta puts out some really great bands with some terrible names that eventually, and I guess it's like the Korn effect, you know, a band called Korn. Well, it doesn't sound dumb because the band's big. Well, Callous Cowboys, what a ridiculous name, but they're like pretty big.
Yeah.
And now, you know, the band makes the name.
I've actually been thinking about starting a rival band for Michael Sarah Palin, Larry David Bowie.
Oh my god.
I knew you would hate that.
No, I love it. I love it. That's awesome. I love this trend. It's like Soulja Boy George.
Oh my god, that's so... Is that a real band?
No, but I would
Can
like
we
for
start
it to
that
be.
band? Okay, cool.
Deal.
Yeah.
Shake.
We just shook on it, everyone. I have no musical talent, so you're going to have to do the heavy lifting.
Oh, you don't have to have musical talent.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
There's a spider on the wall. That spider's not going to hurt either of us. Okay, so you woke up from a message from the wonderful Elliot.
Yep, and Elliot asked, so our drummer is leaving the band, and we're looking for a new drummer. Would you be interested in joining Michael Sarah Palin?
Mm-hmm. Also, no, I'm sorry to interrupt you for the millionth time, but you were talking earlier about like how you meet a lot of people even at the lowest level.
Yeah.
Like, people know your name if you... Here are the 3 tenements. People know your name if you give a shit, you're good at what you do, and you're not an asshole.
I think it's a miracle that anyone now wants to work with me if their perception of me is me when I was 21 or 22.
No, but you like the landscape of the Atlanta DIY scene was way different way back then.
Yeah, well, I was also just kind of I think most people, if they were to describe me when I was 21...
I mean, if anyone described anyone else when they were 21, they were all assholes. Like, don't... Yeah. But what I'm saying is when... preparation meets opportunity, it makes success, or whatever that quote is. So Elliot was like, you want to join my band? Yeah,
and I thought, wow, Michael Sarah Palin, they're a band that, you know, actually wants to play shows and like actually wants to tour. And you know, Antarcticats actually played a really legendary bill. I don't think any of us knew the significance of this, but if you look at this poster, this happened in 2017.
We'll show a carousel. This poster will be on the carousel with the photos that I post for this.
6-band bill, Antarcticats and the Pellies, who I just mentioned.
Yeah.
A band called Pinkest, who are local sweethearts that everyone in Atlanta knows and loves.
Yep.
And then at the bottom.
At the bottom.
At the bottom. So those 3 bands were at the top. At the bottom, you got Lunar Vacation, the Callous Cowboys, and Michael Sarah Palin.
Are you fucking joking?
I'm serious.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That would absolutely
have been such a
insane.
Good
show. That's a wild poster.
Yeah. This is, and back in 2017, no one knew who the fuck any of those 3 bands I just mentioned were, and now they're fucking
huge.
Yeah. It just goes to show so much can change.
Oh
but
my god.
You know, and I knew Michael Sarah Palin was an Atlanta band that, you know, was established, and I go on their Spotify because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to audition, I should listen to them.
Yeah, to make sure that you're, you know, playing music that you actually want to play, which is fair.
And I go on and I'm like, oh my god, all of their songs have like millions of streams. They have like 100,000 monthly listeners.
Yep.
I actually have to take this seriously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like this could be like, you know, an opportunity to you know, I thought I was out of the game for the most part, and I thought I was going to be content just playing local shows, maybe opening for like Horse Jumper of Love or something at the Masquerade in Purgatory, and now I'm being given this opportunity. I actually have to like, you know, try, you know?
Were you not trying before?
I mean, I was, but this is like, you know, it's one thing to try, and then it's one thing to be like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
I actually have to try.
Try.
So I auditioned, and the next day, Elliot messages me and is like, we want you in MCP 1,000%. And I already knew. If I was going to get the offer, I was going to say yes.
Yeah,
and I was going to do whatever it took to
make it happen.
Make the band. Because Elliot and John, you know, really wanted to... John Williams.
Shout out John Williams. We love you.
They're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Before I met them, my perception of like people I was working with were people who I think were a bit more party forward than I was. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy playing a house show in Clemson and then hanging out till 3 a.m. drinking Four Locos and...
God, ew.
Yeah, but...
I mean, there's a time and a place for a Four Loco, and I...
Yeah.
I think you said 3 a.m. at Clemson.
Yeah,
that's the time for a Four Loko.
Yeah, but I would say that I probably didn't goof off as much as my bandmates did in any bands I was in, for the most part.
Sure.
And so I joined Michael Cera Palin,
Love
and I'm getting onboarded, if you want to call it that.
Onboarded, okay.
I'm getting the passwords to the email inbox, and we've got all these plans.
Yeah.
And
what year was this?
This is 2023 when I joined. When I started playing with the band, we're talking, we're getting to know each other.
Yeah.
I would like to think that it became apparent to those two that I'm on the same page as them. This is an opportunity. I thought I was done with music forever, but I've got this fire under my heels. I want to take this band as far as possible if you guys want to take it. And next thing I know, we're on tour, this past year alone.
I know.
We put out an album, and...
Which is amazing. You should go check it out.
It's called We Could Be Brave.
And my favorite track is definitely Wisteria.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's everyone's favorite track, but it's just really good. So that's why it's everyone's favorite track. I listen to it at the gym.
Yeah, no.
A lot. Way too much. It's on my on repeat. I think it's... Since that album came out, I think Wisteria has been on my on repeat. I'm not joking.
It's a beautiful song.
It's a beautiful song.
It's a very well-written song.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it.
I wish I could say I had any part in writing these songs, but I didn't. Elliot and John and the old drummer did.
Oh, okay.
Old drummer John Bunsick. I simply was entrusted to be the one to bring these songs to life, which is a privilege that I'm enormously grateful to have the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
And I went from, in 2022, leaving a band that we played Treefort, we did a national tour, and we did some really great shows.
Yeah.
And I went from leaving that thinking I was never going to do that ever again.
Yeah.
To now I'm in Michael Cera Palin, and we just did this fucking 7-month-long tour where literally I was on the road for more often than I wasn't, playing in all these countries that I read about when I was a kid. I never thought I would go to fucking Poland or the Czech Republic, and we just played 2 shows there 2 weeks ago, And
when I asked you to be on this podcast, I was like, are you sure you're not going to be too jet lagged?
No, the jet lag, I actually woke up at a normal hour today.
Wow.
More or
less. That's what I texted you. I was like, hey, are we still on for today?
Oh,
no canceling. I was like,
well,
okay.
also, I've barely seen my friends this year, and I want to see my friends. I've missed you.
I missed you too. We only get a quarterly catch up now because I'm so busy and you're so busy and you're usually out of town.
Well, I'm taking the next,
3 months, yeah.
I was supposed to be on the tour we're doing on the West Coast supporting our friends in the band Home Is Where, but I will say there's a certain duality, multiple differing things that can coexist, and I think that I'm at the point now that many other people who are in this position have reached and have had to, think about. And I know that whenever I, get back up, I said that I'm taking the next few months to sit down and reflect and think about the future.
Yeah, which we're getting older. We need to start thinking about the future, which is a little wild. No
matter what, and I've said this so many times, this is going to be something that I'm going to do until the end of my natural life.
Oh, yeah.
Until I'm incapacitated, I will be playing shows in as many different weird places as I thought possible.
Well, maybe I can get you to open, if I ever take this podcast on the road, I'll get you to open for me, and that'll get you...
100%, I'd love to.
That'll get you in some new cities, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. What they don't tell you, and something that I was so naive to think when I was a kid, it's that, not getting what you want is difficult, but getting more of it than you'd hoped to have is even harder, because, And I'm so lucky and I'm so privileged and I'm so fortunate to be able to play to, a few hundred people a night in cities I've never been to. And it's something that I have every single intent of continuing to do even after I finish, just sitting and thinking.
Yeah.
But I will say it's difficult, because it comes with the reality of, well, I've got so many friends back home. I have a life back home. I have my job at Seven Onda that I really do love. And I do enjoy, not being on my feet 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's right.
But part of that is also understanding that being bummed out about these things is itself part of the privilege that I have.
The privilege to be bummed out. Yeah.
It's very, very beautiful.
It is beautiful, yeah.
And I said that I felt that, I was struggling in a very unique way as I felt it. I felt that there was something special about the way I was struggling. Yeah. And, it was a struggle that did not feel good.
No.
It was a very negative one. But and there is a struggle that I feel right now You know, it is, man, I've just played, 7 months of shows and I'm feeling some burnout, but there's no negativity in this struggle and there's nothing unique about it. It's a simple fact of the matter that, I've had a year that has made me very tired.
Yeah.
And
you've been out there.
Yep,
You've been doing it. You've been doing the thing.
And now I'm back home and I'm settling down, and that's kind of its own whiplash, because I had been in this mode where I get back from the road and I have, 2 weeks at home before I gotta go back out into the next one.
Sorry.
That was a very odd
sound. That was a loud call. It wasn't even like an engine. It was just like the hum of that engine. Yeah. Well, I was looking at the sound waves and they were picking them up. So, all right. So,
yeah.
Continue with what you were saying. I just got very distracted.
And I guess if this isn't airing for at least
No. This is like next year.
Yeah, so I'm going to be taking the rest of the year off. We don't have any more touring planned because we are starting our year of touring next year with a tour that I'm extremely excited about. I never thought I'd be doing this as a kid, but we are finally making our way over to Australia, Southeast Asia, and Japan. So we're going to be spending about a month, few days, a few shows in Australia, then we're going to Singapore, and then we're going to the Philippines, and then Hong Kong, and then we're playing some shows in China, playing some shows in Tokyo. And
I think this will come out after you guys have announced that.
We're announcing that next week from
good.
Today. And I'm so excited. And I know that, I was a little bit worried because there was about a point halfway through this European tour where I was like, really starting to lose it.
Yeah, I know. I was texting you. I know.
To think about this tour we're doing and still to be so excited that we have this tour coming up, it shows that, no, I'm not sick of this. Yeah, no. I'm burnt out because you can get burnt out doing even what you love if you've had a lot of it. If you've been eating only cake for, a year, you're going to
get sick of cake.
You get sick of cake, but that doesn't mean you're going to hate cake for the rest of your life.
No.
It shows even more that, I still haven't done everything that there is. There's so much more to explore, in this field, in this journey. There's still... I thought last year, after our second time touring Europe, it's like, man, how much more is there? It's like...
Well, there's a whole other world, my friend.
Yeah. And then I'm here, and it's like... I'm looking up, and it's like, no, I'm actually still at the base, at the summit of this mountain that I wasn't even looking up before. I was like, oh, yeah, I've done it.
You were trying.
But now it's like, no, there's more.
There's so much more.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be done, and, I'm not, even when I think about it, I'm in my 30s. A lot of people would have, I've got so many friends who I played in bands with, who played shows with, who over the last 10 or so years since we graduated from college have just stopped for one reason or another. They don't, make music anymore. They don't go to shows. And I'm still doing it.
You're still doing it.
At the same capacity that I've been doing it. And I think about the people I looked up to and who I still look up to. Dakota Floyd is someone who I want to, talk about.
Shout out.
Because Dakota has been in the scene since probably I was in elementary school.
Oh, wow. That's a couple years.
He's still doing it the exact same way he used to, and he's never lost sight of that. He is still as invested in the community. He still gives back to the community as much as he's been in it,
That's amazing.
And God, he's got a house, he's got a wife and a kid, but he's
he's got a house, he's got a wife, he's got a kid, in that order.
Yeah, but he still plays in a DIY band. He still prints merch for DIY bands. He still books DIY shows and festivals. And
where does he live?
Not too far away from here in Gresham Park, I believe.
Oh, I thought you meant wow, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's like, man, Dakota is someone who I wanted to be when I was a kid. Well, I guess kid, relatively speaking. I was 19, 20.
I mean, that's a child, yeah.
And he's still someone that I want to look up to.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's never changed.
Doing it.
And he's like the kind of guy who I want to be like him,
Yeah.
I never want to lose sight of why I got into this in the first place, which is I just wanted a community to be part of,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and I guess that's taken us from being a kid to today.
Yeah, that took a long time. I think this is actually the longest podcast I've done. I was fighting with Drew. I was like, I want them to be 30 minutes. I want them to be really digestible. And almost every single episode has been an hour plus. And Drew was like, I told you. I'm like, okay, well, you don't need to be right and a jerk about it. Okay, so now we're all caught up.
Yeah.
This is the point in the episode where I've tasked you to bring an object. to help
Hell yeah.
explain why you are the way you are. And since you walked up to the house with it, because we're recording this podcast at my house, we're not at Drew's house this week. That is why Drew has been noticeably absent this week. We were sitting on my couch, but you walked up with the object. I saw it in your hands, and I was like, oh shit, I can't see it. So we're going to be honest. So the object has been sitting on my coffee table underneath my denim bedazzled jacket. So I'm going to close my eyes, and you are going to put this object in my hand, and my eyes are closed currently.
Okay.
Are they closed?
They are closed.
Okay. We're going to keep it honest. You are going to hand me this, oh god, hand me this object. Oh god, it's heavy. And I am going to describe it.
Yes.
What it is, and then you're going to tell me why I'm wrong or what it means to you.
Okay.
I've been to your house several times. I've seen this.
So you've seen this.
I've seen this, but I didn't know this is what you were going to bring.
Yeah.
So, this is plastic. So this is a name. It's not a name tag, but it's like a nameplate for your desk.
Yes.
I would say. Okay.
Correct.
And so it's not like an ordinary nameplate. It is. Oh god. It is. I almost dropped it. I'm so sorry, Chad. It is a. So it has your name on it, and it says Chad Miller, Engineer. But that part is in glass at the top, and it's engraved. It's beautiful, and then the bottom is kind of like a plastic
3D printed
holder for said glass nameplate.
Yeah.
And I'm turning it on its head. I don't know. I'm turning it upside down, and there is a LED remote type
strip. An LED light strip.
There we go. And it says mode, speed/bright, and color. So I assume this lights up.
Yes, if you plug it in, actually, if you have a USB port.
I don't know. Maybe my computer does. Hold on. Let me see if it'll work.
Listen, not suddenly off track, but can I have a Coke?
Yeah, you can go get one.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, it does light up. It's in the cabinet in there.
And actually, if you press the buttons underneath...
I am going to press the buttons.
The light.
Ooh, so I'm pressing... So it... immediately when I plugged it in... Oh, God. Okay. No, in the cabinet.
In the cabinet.
Top cabinet. By the fridge. Not up there. There we go. And this podcast has been really chaotic today because Chad just keeps getting up because he can't sit still. And so I plugged it into my USB drive in my computer, and it's been lighting up. And the first one I plugged it in, it started doing rainbow colors. But now I'm just kind of messing with it. I think the purple one has been my favorite so far.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these are all really pretty. Okay, so now you're going to tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, you're pretty right about this.
I mean, yeah, describing it.
Well, I guess the big thing first is I wanted to take the nameplate out of the holder, but I couldn't. It's like actually pretty stuck in there because the important part is the piece of glass.
Okay.
So this was sitting on my desk.
Okay, I'm going to unplug it now.
When I was doing my co-op, I took a full-time offer from there in 2018.
Okay.
About a year after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who works there gets a custom engraved glass nameplate with your name and your title. So I was an engineer. That's why it says Chad Miller, Engineer.
Yep.
And it sat in my desk, and I brought it home after I left that job. Mm-hmm. And it sits on my desk, and I don't want to make this seem like, there's something more poetic or something more significant about it than it really is, because at the end of the day, it is cool, and it is a really cool thing to have. It's like, makes you think I used to work at a bank or something, I guess.
That's not what I would immediately think, but go ahead.
But I guess, there is, I guess, a little bit of sentimentality and symbolism to it because it is a relic from a past life.
Yep.
One where, I thought I was just going to be working at a computer for the rest of my life.
Yep.
But at the same time, I find that as I spend more time away from the tech industry and I spend more of my time doing something else, it is a reminder that I don't have to be just one thing.
Yes.
I can be a lot of different things. I can be a musician, I can also be an engineer, and I can be neither of those things.
You've heard me get up on my high horse about how people don't have to be one thing, so I don't have to say it. I don't have to say it for our listeners because I talk about it every single fucking episode. Literally, you don't have to be one thing, and people fucking forget that. Like, it blows my mind. You don't have to be one thing.
Yeah.
You're so right. God.
And even with music, it doesn't really matter what it is that
Yeah.
I direct all my energy to. I don't like being perceived as a guy who's just one thing.
No.
You know, or even a guy who's like 90% or 85% one thing.
No,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, music is a big part of my life.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of things are a big part of my life, but, you know, music is a really big and public-facing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like, especially this year, you know, having spent so much time, it is easy to lose yourself to some extent doing anything, even if it is the thing you love.
Oh,
and to
100%. Yeah.
And taking time to reground and rebalance yourself is quite important.
Yeah.
And this is the smallest tangible thing I can point to and remind myself, hey, I'm not just a music guy.
No,
yeah, I
you're
love
not.
playing music. It is a big part of my life. It is what I list on my tax forms. The IRS says I'm a musician.
Yep.
But
I'm a
that's not the
freelancer on
only
my
thing I am.
taxes. I get it.
Yeah.
If you put freelancer, that means you can be so many things.
Yeah. You know, I think it's important and healthy for people to be well-rounded, and I'd like for that to be, you know, myself, well-rounded.
So, thank you. I love how like it's the most tangible thing I can think of to say that I'm multifaceted.
Yeah.
I get it. Because you could write in Sharpie all the other things you are on here, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You're just an engineer.
I don't want to ruin it by defacing it.
I mean, I kind of want to ruin it by defacing it right now. I'm not going to, but... Well, Chad, it's been lovely. Oh my god, this is the longest one. It's been lovely talking to you. I have a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
One, what has brought you joy this week?
Coming back home.
Fair. Just like being home, being back in Atlanta. Hopefully you've been able to see some friends a bit.
You're actually the first friend I've seen. Well, because I was home and then I caught a cold on the plane. And then I had chores to catch up.
You also probably wanted to be alone for a couple days.
I did want to be alone. And it's like, I had some chores to knock out. So I got home Tuesday night. Then I had Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay.
And then I had about half of Friday before I had to drive down to Gainesville to play the fest.
Right.
Spent Saturday playing the fest and driving back up, and now it's Sunday. So... And those 2 days I was back home, I was also sick, so it's like even less feeling like seeing people. You're actually the first friend I've seen since I've come back home.
Aww.
That is a high honor, I think.
It is a high honor. Thank you for coming on my podcast. And we will hang out.
Oh, yeah.
Not with a microphone tethered to us.
Yeah,
but...
we'll make some soup or something.
Oh my god, please. I was actually thinking the other day that I want to throw a soup party.
Yeah.
Where I invite like a bunch of people and everyone makes a soup and then we all like have like a taste test of all the soups.
Ooh.
Isn't that a good idea?
That's a
really
great one.
I know it's not an original idea, but I think that would be a really good idea.
Oh, I would love to participate in a soup potluck.
Maybe like a middle November date. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking at my calendar. I was like, there's no way I can do this. But yeah, that would be really fun. So being home, regrounding yourself, that is what's brought you joy this week.
Yep.
I love that.
The simple things.
Simple things, exactly. So if someone wanted to like follow your journey or like the next steps of like what you're doing, how would they do that? Could they follow you like on Instagram?
Ooh.
That's my second question.
Yeah, I do have an Instagram.
What is it?
chad.miller.official.
Okay.
I have a website, ischadontour.com.
I've definitely been to this webpage multiple times because I can never remember your schedule. And the website literally says, is Chad on tour? Yes or no? And you added more to it recently, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to get off social media. I haven't been very successful at it because social media just seems to be one of those things that you kind of have to have the same way you have to have, like...
I was literally talking about this on our last episode. Like, it's something, unfortunately, as a creative, you need to have.
Yeah, but I try to have fun with it. In a kind of not great way for other people, I think. It's like, I don't know, my social media, you know, my Substack, my Instagram, whatever, I do like to try to play up a certain kind of character because I like keeping people on their feet, you know?
That's why?
I think ischadontour.com is probably not me trying to put on some kind of character.
No, it's just literally giving your friends information.
Yeah, and character's not the right way of putting it. It's like a caricature of myself.
Sure.
My social media is going to be a caricature of myself because,
everyone,
frankly, that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone posts a certain like amount of themselves onto social media, and that's not who they are. They usually only show the good things on social media.
No, I kind of, to some extent, like portraying myself as a little bit unhinged and deranged.
Yeah. No, I know.
It keeps it interesting.
It does keep it interesting. So you can follow Chad Miller on Instagram. You can also follow Michael Sarah Palin to look at tour dates for next year.
Yeah.
If you're, interested in seeing Chad hit those drums live.
Ooh, I've also got a YouTube. So
You have a YouTube?
my friend, it's not a. So my friend Austin Cheshire has a YouTube
Shout out
channel
Austin.
called Punk House.
Punk House, okay.
And Austin runs sound for a lot of house shows, and he has a GoPro set up, so he'll record sets. And Austin is probably the single most important archivist in the Atlanta house show scene right now.
Love that.
But he also, I've been inspired, he used to post food reviews that were really dumb, just like whip out his phone if we have like Oreos or something, and we'll like just make a shitty unplanned taste test type video.
Love it.
And I've kind of transferred the philosophy of spontaneity, because I feel like YouTube was never intended to be like,
what it is now.
like TV substitute,
Yeah.
that choreographed, that much, high budget production.
Yeah.
So I like documenting my life in these short snippets, and they're not particularly interesting, but I think that's what makes it interesting. It's, I feel like I do plenty interesting already on the road, playing shows and whatnot. And when you have so much of that you present, suddenly the things that are not interesting become interesting in themselves. That's how I think about it.
I agree. So your YouTube page, what is it?
I think if you look up Chad Miller,
On
you will
YouTube?
eventually find my account.
Okay, so if people want to follow Chad on YouTube, you gotta go find it. He's not gonna tell
actually,
you what it is.
On my Instagram, there is a link tree in my bio.
Oh, and
my
your
link
YouTube
tree
is
has
Okay. So you guys got to go find that for yourselves. Well, Chad, it's been so nice getting to actually see you in person instead of you and I texting each other back and forth. I'm so burnt out. Oh my god. Like legit.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for like 2 months now. It's so funny, but
From both sides.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But do you have any like parting remarks?
Parting remarks.
Yeah.
God, I feel like I should say something more poignant or.
Have fun, stay safe.
Have fun, stay safe.
There
How
we
about
go.
that?
There we go.
That's
How
so
about
uninspired.
that? Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hi, Why Are You? This podcast is hosted by Edi Tingle and sometimes co-host Drew Turner. This podcast is produced by Drew Turner and Edi Tingle. Our logo is by Pete Ivanecki. Promotional photography by Ari Skin. And as always, our greatest source of information is our guest for the week. Remember, work hard and be sweet. And thanks for listening.